Good day students. In this video we will be seeing the frequent item set generation in association analysis. The objective of frequent item set generation is to find all the item sets that satisfy the minimum support threshold. These item sets are called frequent item sets. Let us consider an example where the number of items is equal to 5, that is A, B, C, D, E. Then this lattice structure can be used to enumerate the list of all possible item sets. So starting from null, so A, B, C, D, E. Next you generate all possible 2 candidate item sets at this layer. Then you generate all possible 3 candidate item set at this layer, 4 candidate item set, finally item set with all the candidates. So in this way, using the lattice structure, we can generate all the possible item sets. In general, a data set that contains k items can potentially generate up to 2 to the power of k minus 1 frequent item sets, excluding the null set. This is very simple because we all know that if a set has k items, then you can have 2 to the power of k subsets. 2 to the power of k minus 1 means excluding this null set we are going to consider. Because k can be very large in many practical applications, the search space of the item sets that need to be explored is exponentially large. So let us see a brute force approach for finding the frequent item sets to determine the support count for every candidate item set in the lattice structure. So what we have to do means, for the every candidate item set generated over here, we need to check what is the support count for that. So how we can do that using the brute force approach? In the brute force approach, you match each candidate item set against the transaction which you are going to have over here and increment the support count for that. For example, the support for bread and milk is incremented thrice because the item set is contained in transactions 1, 4 and 5. So here you can see bread milk, in 4 you can see bread milk, in 5th transaction you can see the bread milk. So it is incremented thrice. But whether this approach is viable, definitely not. The reason is it is expensive in terms of computation because it requires a big O of n m into w comparisons, where capital N is the number of transactions, m is equal to 2 to the power of k minus 1 is the number of candidate item sets, and w is the maximum transaction width, because you have to compare n number of n number of transactions against m number of candidate item sets with the w transaction width. So it will be computationally expensive. So there are different approaches to reduce this computation complexity of frequent item set generation. So one thing what we can do means, we can reduce the number of candidate item sets. Instead of generating all the candidate item sets using the lattice structure how we have done earlier, that is 2 to the power of k minus 1, we can generate the limited number of candidate item sets based on specific strategy which we are going to see in the future lectures. One approach is that one. Another approach is we can reduce the number of comparisons. That is, instead of matching each candidate item set against every transaction, we can reduce the number of comparisons by using the more advanced data structures, either to store the candidate item sets or to compress the data sets. So that is the another way of. Now let us focus on the a priori principle, which is used to reduce the number of candidate items explored during the frequent item set generation. This is the very important principle in entire frequent item set generation, because it forms the basis of this frequent item set generation. The reason is it is going to reduce the number of candidate item sets explored during the frequent item set generation. So let us see what does this principle say, or the theorem says. So it goes like this: if an item set is frequent, then all of its subset must also be frequent. So let us see this with an example. Suppose if you consider a 3 candidate item set C comma D comma E as frequent, then all subsets of this item set are frequent. What does that mean to you? So let us see with this example or this lattice structure. Suppose C comma D comma E, that is the 3 candidate item set, is frequent, then all of its subsets are frequent. You need not go and explore individually whether this is frequent or not. The moment you say that CDE is frequent, obviously these subsets, that is D comma E, C comma E, D, C comma D, then CDE, all these are frequent. So we are going to have the converse of this theorem also. So what does it say? Means if an item set is infrequent, then all of its supersets must be infrequent too. So in the theorem we talked about candidate item set being frequent, then its subsets also being frequent. But in the converse we are going to say that if an item set is infrequent, then all of its supersets must be infrequent. So this the converse helps us in trimming the exponential search space based on the support measure known as support based pruning. Actually this support based pruning is possible by a key property known as the anti-monotone property. So we will see the what is that property, that is both monotonicity property and anti-monotonicity property in detail. So this is regarding the converse of the theorem. Suppose say that if A comma B is infrequent, then all its supersets are infrequent. So let us see what is this monotonicity property and anti-monotonicity property. So the definition goes like this: let I be a set of items, then J is equal to 2 to the power of I be the power set of I. We know that obviously by our set theory we know measure f is monotone or upward closed if for all x comma y belonging to J, x is the subset of y and f of x is less than or equal to f of y, which means that f x is a subset of y, then f of x must not succeed the f of y, which we have seen in the a priori principle, which means that a item set is frequent, then all its subset is also frequent. So if f of x is a subset, then it will not exceed the f of y. So that is monotonicity property. Anti-monotonicity is opposite to monotonicity, which applies to our converse. F is anti-monotone or downward closed. It is the reverse of that for all x comma y belonging to J. If x is a subset of y, see here f of y is less than or equal to f of x. That is the subsets count it cannot exceed, which means that x is a subset of y, then f of y must not exceed the f of x. That we have seen in the converse of your a priori principle, where we say that this is the subset, then supersets will be infrequent, which is based on this anti-monotone property because it is downward closed. What do you mean by downward closed? See here, X is a subset. Its count superset cannot exceed. That is f of y is less than or equal to f of x. So that is the anti-monotonicity property which is being used in the converse of a priori. A priori, as you already have seen, it is item set is frequent, then subsets are frequent. So this brings us to the end of introduction and a priori principle in the frequent item set generation. Thank you.